I don't look excited to see my dogs, but that's because the previous 48 hours were the toughest challenge of my life. Here's what happened. Last spring, my cousin and I decided to summit a 4,000 meter peak together, which would be my first. We wanted to do it on skis for the pleasure of skiing all the way down from the top. We set our sights on Alphubel, a 4,206 meter peak located between the valleys of Zermatt and Saas-Fee, in our home canton of Valais. Our adventure started at Unported at 2,600 meters. We climbed up to 3,400 meters before enjoying a nice descent through an untouched valley back down to 2,200 meters.
Let's go, baby!
Unfortunately, my altitude sickness had already kicked in, which meant the second climb of the day to our hut was challenging. Luckily, we got blessed by a rare gypaète barbu on the way up.
C'est un gypaète, hein?
After struggling for an hour, we arrived at our home for the night, the Teschhütte, at 2,700 meters. Some of us were more comfortable than others. Now it was time to relax and charge up before our summit attempt in the morning.
On doit aller tout là-haut demain. Aïe aïe aïe.
Because of COVID, there were restrictions on the number of people allowed in huts, and on top of that, the minus 20-degree temperatures and super strong winds meant the hut was nearly empty and we had this room all to ourselves.
Tu fais les stories côté followers.
Bon app.
Mais c'est aussi le chiffre. Hein?
According to the Swiss Alpine Club regulations, huts must serve at least 3 courses for dinner, and we were very grateful for such a feast after a long day.
Ah,
Greggy, santé.
Santé. Yeah.
T'as vu que je sors de la banane un peu. Comme ça on voit tous. Ils sont bien plus après.
After a sleepless night, and don't ask me why, I just could not fall asleep. We started the climb at a very reasonable 6:30 a.m. start. The plan was to climb 1,000 meters to reach the pass before going left up the Alphubel to reach the summit.
L'Alphubel dans le brouillard. Nos objectifs final. Sur la gauche, le col. Le Alphubel Pass. Superbe. Bravo Léo.
I felt fresh that morning, ready to push myself hard to reach the top, so I was filming quite a bit. However, an hour into the climbing, my altitude sickness came back and I couldn't shake it off. My head felt like it was going to explode, I was finding it hard to breathe, and every muscle in my body was screaming. I couldn't do it anymore. I told them I had to stop and go down. This was it for me. We have to at least get to the pass, said our guide Michi. Then if you're still bad, we go down. Those last minutes to reach the pass were absolute torture. I was so close to passing out that I couldn't feel my hands or feet anymore, and my vision was turning black. This is it, I thought. But then it all changed in the snap of a finger. Once we reached the pass, the wind slapped us so hard that my body seemingly switched to survival mode and completely suppressed my body's complaints. We decided to push on, crossing the glacier. Head down, the wind hitting us so hard I could feel the tiny snow crystals slamming into the side of my face, we marched on. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. For over an hour, I was a machine, completely switched off, in the zone. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. After the glacier, the final push was a steep ice wall. We had our ski crampons on and we started climbing. At this point, the wind had died down a bit and my altitude sickness came back. Again, I wanted to give up, but the others pushed me. We were so close. My cousin offered to carry my backpack, but I stubbornly refused. His dad had carried his during his first 4,000 peak, and I knew a little piece of his ego would be redeemed if he now did the same for me. But my ego wouldn't give him the satisfaction. We pushed on until I collapsed, my legs giving out. I felt so bad. I was eventually sick. And while that sounds horrible, I think it was a blessing in disguise. You know that post-sick energy boost you get? All of a sudden, you just feel well. Well, that ignited me. I got up, convinced more than ever that we would reach the summit. And we did. It's hard to describe what I felt, but what I can say is that the rush of adrenaline made me feel high. I felt elated. I did it. Many times I was so close to giving up. Hell, I did give up. If it hadn't been for Lucien and Michi, who felt they could push me harder, I would have abandoned the ascent. I'm so grateful that they helped me push myself harder than ever before. I can confidently say this was the hardest physical challenge of my life so far. Not actually because of the physicality of it, I was in shape and ready for this, but because of the altitude sickness. I learned so many valuable lessons, not only in terms of mountaineering and how I need to prepare for such an expedition, but also about myself, about how far I can push myself, and how even at that point I can push further. It was an incredible experience, and now I'll let you enjoy some shaky footage of our descent back down to Sasve. Yeah.